Hey guys, what's going on? It is time for the official beginning of the mid-game portion of Path of Radiance, and in this I finally have access to my ever so helpful base, which you didn't see because I did all my bonus experience and stuff off screen because it took a while, but you can get info conversations and new items and buy stuff from the shop and all that good stuff in the base every chapter from now on if you haven't played the game before. And it's just a really cool version of the preparation screen basically in the past games. This is my favorite alteration of that because it allows you to do support conversations in the base, and I actually like the support system in this game a lot more. It makes supports far more viable for every character. Because they don't need to be next to each other. That system felt kind of stupid to me, honestly. It just took a lot of turns. In this, it just says if they're in a total amount of chapters together, they get the support bonus, which is cool. And as you can see there, Oscar is now level 16 due to bonus experience, and resetting a lot helps to get their stats what you need. Some people might call that cheap, but the fact that I'm going for efficiency here means I don't give a shit. So he's got really decent stats now for a level 16 Cavalier, and he's pretty much MVP from this point onward in the game until Tanith arrives in chapter 18, and you'll see when I get there eventually. She just kind of wrecks shop for the rest of the game. And Oscar kind of takes a sideline role in being just another powerful elite unit in my army. But from this point onward, for the next 10 chapters or so, he is the clear MVP of my team, with Kiran being a second when he arrives in chapter 10. So, as you can see, I get my mage in this chapter as well, and being a defend chapter, it was kind of frustrating due to having 3 choke points, but in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really matter that much because Oscar has the durability now. I believe he has 15 or 16 defense, and that pretty much makes him unkillable. He has more defense than Gatry does at this point in the game, or did in the past chapter, and he's pretty much invincible in chapter 7 and 3. Unless you really let him get attacked a lot and he gets some bad luck. But yeah, so that was cool. I figured since I have to recruit the mage, I'm not going to have Ike sit on the throne as it usually does. I'm just going to have Oscar do it, which is what I do. Because as long as he's on there, as you can see, none of these units are dealing any damage to him. He's doubling them all. This is really the chapter that he started shining, and as I said, he's the MVP from this point onward. The combination of his mobility and the Canto ability, which I know I've said that a lot, but it's the ability that lets mounted units like him, as you'll see here, to reuse or to waste up all of the extra movement that they have after an action. And the only way that a non-mounted unit will be able to do that, mounted flying units are able to do that, is if there's an item you get after chapter 19 if you fulfill some certain conditions called the Night Ring, and that allows you to do the same thing when equipped. It allows people to Canto. So, and it's kind of misleading, at least in Path of Radiance, why people would call it Canto, because that's actually the ability of Racing, which is the Heron in the game, which is akin to basically the Dancer. And that's actually his ability, that's the ability that lets him use his singing actions, which you can remove. I don't know why you would, but I learned you can remove that. And it's a built-in skill in Radiant Dawn for all mounted units. I believe it takes up 5 capacity, but that's kind of where people started calling it that, from my knowledge. So, as you can see, Oscar is just tanking the defend point, and I figured he would be a far better candidate for that as opposed to Ike, because now all the enemies are coming to him, and the experience will be pretty sweet. And I believe this chapter can be ended if you defeat the boss. I'm not sure. I know chapter 5 can, which is the other defend chapter I've played so far, and I couldn't remember if getting to the boss would end the chapter, but honestly, it would have not made anything much quicker for me because there's just too many enemies. And I can't really block off more than 2 of the checkpoints. I suppose I could have tried to tank with Reese on the defense square, but I'm not feeling that lucky. I haven't really used him that much at this point in the game, and I just felt that this was the most sound option, especially if everyone else has to wait this amount of turns. I might as well use it to get experience for my 2 main combat units for the greater portion of the game, especially Oscar. I wanted to try and get him promoted by this chapter, but just his general weakness early on. I know he's not a bad unit at all, but it was just a matter of him gaining his levels that he needed, because he has good bases, but on hard mode, with the amount of axe users that you find in the game, it just didn't help me out very much. I don't think I actually attack on. Oh, I do. This is Ileana the Mage, and recruiting her was actually a very big boon to me, because this was actually my first time truly using her. I had gotten into like level 15 or so by general means, not bonus experience abusing, of course, and she had not proven to be anywhere near Soren's ability. The only thing I would find that she really does have above Soren is the fact that she has a better weapon level in Thunder Tomes, which are by and large the most useful tomes in the game, due to their higher power and actually critical, but she actually has somewhat of a strength growth, and that's incredibly important, because as opposed to Game Boy Advance versions of the game and before, Constitution was used to determine attack speed, and in this one it's actually strength, which can either be very good or very bad, because Liana has, I believe, 8 weight or 7 weight unpromoted and 8 promoted, or if not, give her 9 promoted. I can't remember, but that would actually fit her far better, because L Thunder weighs 6, and it would actually take quite a while without bonus experience abuse for her to get anywhere near 6 strength. So if you are resetting abusing with her and you have her in a run, with her and Soren as well, I recommend getting them to at least 3 or 4 strength to use at least their basic tomes without any sort of attack speed loss, because that'll be very detrimental to their attack speed. Someone like Liana, I don't believe, has the highest speed growth in the game, or of course not, but in general terms, her speed growth generally doesn't come out as well as Soren's, from my experience, and I believe she's got a lower average as well, so it's not just personal experience, but I decided to recruit her now because I didn't want her going anywhere near Oscar and making things more difficult on me, and Ike's, like I said, Ike also has extremely, well, not extremely good, but he's well above his average stats in pretty much every category right now. I think skill, and his defense allows him to pretty much be invincible if he rescues somebody, and there's no way I was going to allow myself to risk having Liana die, because that would just ruin the run for me, because I wasn't sure how useful she would be early on. I actually contemplated just kind of using her as a backup healer and not really a damage dealer, and it turns out that I would have had not as much use for her if she was just going to simply be a kind of a heal bot in the end, because my first plan was to just promote her at level 10 with bonus experience, because you get a Master Seal in Chapter 10, and I believe Chapter 11, so it was one of those things where when I was kind of realizing as I was going through the game that her ability actually is far underrated. She has unhindered movement in, I think, every terrain, except when she's passing over thickets or forests, like every other unit. And she made the desert chapter far more easy for me. And the problem with using her as a heal bot is that she doesn't have access to a physics staff, probably for the entire game. unless you really use it for healing, and I didn't. So Reese pretty much handles all the physicking for me, and so far with the one physics staff I've received in the game, I haven't tried to go out of my way to steal any, just do it for turn count purposes. But it still has 6 uses left after quite a bit of chapters, so I haven't really needed it too much. It's mostly for an emergency situation. My units have pretty damn good avoid and defense and durability at that point in the game due to being such a high level. And it's an elite squad of units, so I don't have to worry about as many weakling units. As the game has gone on, some of my units, especially my Lagoos, have gone dramatically off the chart on usefulness, and now pretty much Moram and Mordecai have been reduced to smiters, and most chapters are over by the time Mordecai will promote. So, and Moram is better with the demi-band I've found so far, and it's just, which is fine. I mean, I'm glad that I've got them because they allow me to have, especially in terms of Moram, a very mobile smiter, as he has 9 move when he's transformed and enough weight to push, I think, anyone in the game, except for maybe someone like Har, but I can't be sure. But no, that's actually proven to be incredibly useful, so I don't regret having either of them. I would have preferred another Bjork unit, but in another vein, they've proven to be more useful, I think, in combat than any other Bjork unit I could have gotten. So, at least in the rounds that I picked them. So, but as I said before, I couldn't say enough good about shoving and smiting units to help. Just give that, because some say smiting a unit would give you, I could possibly get to the square, or the C square on a seize chapter, or something like that, to seize the space, and if you didn't smite him, you would have to take another turn for no reason to do that, just for, say moving 1 or 2 spaces. Just little things like that, it does add up, and like I said before, I highly recommend doing something like that, or trying to get one of those later on in the rounds when you can. Especially if you feel those picks are threatened. Like if you know someone might pick those, then I would definitely jump on either of them, just for that utility. And it's actually an added bonus because getting another smite scroll on chapter, I believe it's 20, allows you to have 2 smiters like I do. And having 2 smiters, 2 mounted units, and a flying unit is pretty much good game. So I would have preferred to have a flying unit as opposed to 2 mounted units, like a flying and a mounted, but beggars can't be choosers, so I took my picks when I did, and I knew Kiran would not last past round 2, just due to how the nature of the picks were going, so I felt very confident in snagging someone like that, and stealing pretty much the 2 best mounted units in the game due to their availability and in-base stats. Astrid would have been my 3rd choice as opposed to Makalov, who kind of joins in a chapter in which he can't do anything, and he really will need a lot of bonus experience abuse, as well as Astrid. But the thing about Astrid is that with Paragon, she takes practically 10 levels worth of bonus experience or 20 levels of bonus experience for the price of 10, which is on hard mode incredibly valuable, and being level 1 you have practically full control over her stats with reset abuse. And she doesn't come that much after Kiran, but I will say Kiran did make chapter 11 a bit faster for me, so I was glad for that. But however, I would not advise getting more than 2 mounted units for a chapter like 15 or 25. It would make things a lot harder for you. If you have 2 mounted units and possibly 2 high-speed avoid magic users, I would definitely go for that. That will make those 2 chapters a breeze. So, hopefully a little bit of these suggestions can help. as I've never done a draft for this game before, so it was kind of interesting to see how it plays out. So far, I believe I'm in the lead overall within the two groups, which is kind of cool. Especially considering everyone has so far rated my team and called it sucky, but I'm very proud of my picks. I know there are some that I missed out on some high tier picks. Alex, the other, pretty much the main contestant I'm going up against, has Neffany and Jill and Boyd, which are pretty much top tier units in the game, and he's still behind me, so that's okay. I'll take my shit tier units plus Oscar, and good game, you all, you know. And this is, I believe, the last turn, but pretty much for anyone, this should be a very simplistic chapter. If you don't have Liana, or anyone, if you don't have to recruit her and you don't have a lot of units, you can literally tank the entire map just by having Ike camp on this defend square. If it comes down to that, there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to do that, because you should have been probably heavily using Ike at this point. And in that matter, he's invincible on this square, so it doesn't really matter. If you have a healer and just Ike, I don't recommend bringing them. Like Reese, I wouldn't personally, but if you're feeling risky and you can do it, go ahead. But this should be the end of the chapter, and I will catch you guys later. Thanks for listening.